To make a sewn mouse, you're going to need a needle, some thread, a pair of scissors, and a sock. To make my mouse, if you look right here, that is practically the shape of a mouse. So what I'm going to do is, and then I'm going to keep this gray tail. So with my scissors, and you can ask Mom and Dad to help you, I'm going to cut that tail, and then I'm going to cut the toe off. There we go. It almost looks like a mouse. The next step is I'm going to stuff it. So I'm going to cut another section of my sock off and try and stuff that in. And I think that is going to be pretty good. I'm going to sew all this together, so by the time I'm done, that's going to be a pretty good mouse. To sew, I'm going to take the end of my thread. Now this is going to be hard for you to see. I always cut it, choke up, I'll do it over here, and push it through the eye of the needle. I like to sew just with one thread. So you only need about an arm's length. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pinch it together. And I want to make sure I get a lot of my sock. And I'm going to stick it through, wrap it to, and pull it through. And you can also make a knot by just taking stitch on top of stitch. Oops. On top of stitch. Now, once I have my knot, I like to have a nice neat seam. So I'm going to fold this over, go in on this side and out this side. I'm going to go kind of fast now. It's all getting fast forwarded now. Oh, that went on the wrong side. Well, that's okay. So I'm going to sew all the way down this length of my mouse. And as you get to the back of the mouse, if you don't pull it in so much, hopefully it'll make that mouse a little bit fatter. Now when I get to the end, I'm just going to keep sewing that tail together. Sewing, pulling it a little bit, sewing. At the tail, I'm not folding it. I'm just letting that raw edge, cut edge. It's going to fray a little bit. And when I get to the end, I'm going to make a knot. Wrap it to and pull it through. Here is a nice little mouse. An experiment. I think I'm going to make another mouse out of the heel. Maybe this is going to be the head, and then this will be the tail. So to do that, cut here, tail, head, and this one I'm going to fold it in. So its head's actually going to be white. It's nice that the sock is two-tone. It has white and gray. And if that tail's too long, cut it down a little bit. Have fun making your mice. And remember, at the end, the great thing is if they come unthreaded, you can just resew them. 1, 2. Pull it through. And here is my big-headed mouse. And you can push it next to my skinny mouse. You can make a whole mouse family. So I like to use a permanent marker. And better yet, I'm going to show you how to sew on eyes. So the first thing is, I want my eyes to be here. So with a Sharpie, I want the eye to be there, and I want the eye to be here. And that's fine for your, I want this eye to be here. So it's more dabbing on fabric. And keep doing it until your eye gets bigger. See how my eye's getting bigger and bigger? And I'll do it here. There. And this is permanent marker, so when it gets washed, it should stay. And that's a fine eye. Not where the eye is, but I'm going to come out the eye. Do you see that? Then I'm going to take another stitch right on top of that eye, and I'm going to wrap it twice around. Once, twice. Oh, my thread came out. And then pull it through. You could also use yarn, anything that's bigger. Now I'm starting to get, you could also just keep taking stitches right on top. And that's a pretty good way of building up a nice eye. Now watch this trick. I want to come over to this other one. So I'm going to dip in through the eye, pop out through this one. Take a stitch, and this is called a French knot. So I'm going to wrap it around 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and be really gentle pulling this one through. Watch. So it's a big messy knot. And now, that big messy knot, come back through, and there, and I'll trim this. Watch this trick. Trim it. I can just trim this extra. And watch this thing disappear. There you go. So there are my 2 little mice eyes. See here, I'm going to cut 2 squares. Out of this, the extra sock that I have. And the great thing about having two-tone that this is gray, and I'm going to put on white ears so they're going to jump out. To do that, I'm just going to fold it in half into a triangle. Fold this one in half into a triangle. Take my needle and thread, and I still have some thread left over, and I could have kept my thread still attached from doing the eyes and just popped up where I want the ear to be. I want my ears to be right behind the eyes. So, but since I didn't, oh, look at that nice mouth I created right there. I could make little teeth on there too if I wanted to. Pop out of behind the ears. Now I'm going to just do a knot by taking a stitch, maybe 3 stitches. 1. Now I'm pulling it and the thread's not coming. That's good enough. I'm now going to take this triangle with the curved part right here and fold it over. And there is a nice little mouse ear. I'm going to take a stitch through the bottom. Fold it back, and I'm just going to stitch on. Now that's going to hold my ear on there for me, and I can pull it open. Fold this back behind it. And I'm going to take a few stitches. 1 here. In the back. Come over next to it. Take another one. Careful not to poke yourself. and push this in a little bit. And I'm going to push in with my needle, take another stitch, so about 3 or 4 stitches around. And then watch this trick. I'm now going to jump over here to where the other ear is going to be. And same thing, I'm going to fold this on the fold here, fold it over. And this is where your little hands are going to be really good, much better than mine. And take a stitch. So all you need for this mouse project is an old sock, needle and thread, pair of scissors, and some patience, and see where you can go. If the ears are too difficult, it's okay if your mouse doesn't have an ear. And you're probably saying, well, when are we going to get to the legs and the feet? Well, the great thing about mice is their legs are so small, we're not going to bother sewing on feet. Plus, they'll come out looking kind of weird. It'll look weirder than if we do this. Oh, now see, this part's a little bit loose, so I'm just going to dive down and pop back up where I want to go. And take one more stitch. You can be messy with this. The sock is very forgiving. So if you have stitches, look, the stitches just disappear in the soft sock. And to do a knot, I'm just going to take a stitch, and a stitch. So now my mouse has 2 little ears. And I'll do the same for this one. So here I have my 2 finished mice. And the bigger one had a mouth, so I decided to fill it with pink thread. And now that looks like a little bit too big. So all I do is just push it in. And the great thing is you can squeeze these and manipulate it however you want. And that's a little bit nicer mouth. So this mouse I decided to make an outfit for. And if you want to make some clothes for your mouse, I'll show you how, a real simple way. This one can watch. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut a piece of fabric. You can use any old piece of fabric you'd like. This one, it's like this. I'm going to fold it over so that it's just beyond the ears. And then I'm going to fold it over right where the bottom is, where the tail comes off. And then I'm basically going to fold this. And I'm going to make it like a little bit of a shirt. I'm going to fold this over and get it so that the seam of the shirt is down by its belly.
Is that a mouse?
It's a mouse. And then I'm going to take this needle. I might want to stitch this on first. Same thing, start in the mouth. Come up. You can do your knot by 1, 2, 3. Or you can just take stitch on top of stitch on top of stitch. And basically if you do 1, 2, 3, it'll hold it on. Then put your needle down, get it just the way you want it, kind of pull it a little tight. And you're just going to sew up this line from this side to this side. And then I like to do a knot right here by wrapping it twice. 1, 2. And I probably just need about 4 stitches coming down. 1, 2. Oop, that got stuck around its head. And it's much nicer if your mouse has some nice clothes to wear. And then when you get down to the bottom, you can just do another knot. Pull it through. Sometimes I like to do 2 knots. You can also sew all the way around. When I did this one, I sewed it all around so it looks like his little tail came out. So I would just pull these in and sew. With cloth.